Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om and good evening from London. Valmiki Ji's Ramayana is 24,000 verses. Veda Vyasa Ji's Mahabharata is 100,000 verses. Srimad Bhagavatam, which is compiled by Veda Vyasa, is 18,000. But if you take all of the 18 Puranas, today I was calculating this, all 18 Puranas have 408,500 verses. So 12,000, 100,000, 409,000 essentially verses. And all 550,000 of these verses have one singular focus, and that is to steal the separation that we feel right now, the separation amongst ourselves, the separation between the Jiva and Jagadishvara, to steal that separation. There is no other focus to any of these itihasas, to these Puranas. Swami Tejomayananda shares that we have to immerse the mind first in nama. We have to immerse the mind in the name of the divine, of the Lord. And the evolution of that is the mind being immersed in the rupa of Bhagavan. It's much easier to drive and say Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. It's much easier to do that than to actually sit at an altar and study the features of Bhagavan Rama, as an example. The evolution of immersing the mind in rupa is Bhagavan's guna, the qualities, which come out, sometimes people say, the katha, the stories. But the focus is the qualities of the divine, of Bhagavan. And I've shared with you in the past what Bhagavan actually means. So look back into your notes or look into past Evacharas about that. But I'm sure I'll explain it again another time. But I'm not going to tell you right now, because you should also work in this Bhagavad Gita course. If your mind is immersed in the nama, rupa, guna, then you reach his dhamma. You reach moksha, if you look at it from a jnani perspective, or you reach the dhamma, vaikunta, kailasha, if you're looking at this from a bhakta perspective. The dhamma. Last week, we were studying sorrow. And we don't need a course for that. We can just study every moment of ours. When you're in the waking state, you only believe that the waking state is reality. If I start telling you about a dream I had, then you hear me out of compassion or practicality, but you don't register anything I say in my dream, right? And if you're busy, you're thinking, why are you wasting my time? When you're dreaming, you don't believe that there's any other reality. There is no waking state. I just came from a university and I was asking the students there, what time did you sleep? And they proudly said, 1:09 a.m., 3 a.m. You know, a Vedanta student will say, I woke up at 3 a.m. A university student will say, I slept at 3 a.m. Both are proud. And I told them, if you know what time it is, then you are not sleeping. So when we're dreaming, that's the only reality. When we're sleeping, that's the only reality. There is no time. Take this message deep into your heart that we have this habit, this impression that whatever we're experiencing to be real. But that's not the case. Neither the waking, dream, or sleep state is absolute. So now start to practice that. Is fear so real? Is anxiety so real? Is depression so real? The ones that we're facing. Specifically, sorrow is as real as you wish it. If you wish sorrow not to be real, don't make it real. And if you make it real, then you've caused that for yourself. In chapter 1, we are learning to be Shatrugna. Shatru means Shatanat, the one who torments us. Shatrugna, the one who cuts off that torment. Now, who is Shatrugna? He is known to be the servant of Sri Bharata. Who is Sri Bharata? The servant of Bhagwan Rama. So who is Shatrugna? The one who is a servant of a servant. In other words, all that Shatrugna does, he engages in his responsibilities. In Vedanta, we would call that dharma. He does nothing else. It's shared in Ramayana, he actually barely speaks. He's just engaged in his responsibilities. He's not swayed by fear, anxiety, depression. He doesn't let sorrow impede his responsibilities. And you see the opposite of this is Prince Arjuna, which I will highlight shortly. You see, humans have a choice. Plants and animals are called bhoga yonis. They don't have a choice. Humans are called yoga yonis. We have a choice. And choice is a blessing, and choice can also be a curse. On Monday, we were at a restaurant for Bhiksha, and I was cursed. I just couldn't figure out what to eat. There was so much choice, and I was just so indecisive that even when my food came, I was still feeling like I don't know if I made the right choice. And I feel that if I went to a restaurant where there was less choice, then it would have been easier for me, and I would have enjoyed that food. But for everyone else, it was a blessing. We got this, and we got this, and we got this, and we got this. It's a blessing or a curse, and who is it up to? It's up to how you use that. For a human, we have a developed intellect. And with this intellect, you can inquire. You can inquire into reality. An animal and a plant cannot do that, but with the same intellect, you can arrogate. You can become arrogant. I do, I'm doing. Where does doership live? In the Vijnanamaya Kosha, in the intellect. So the intellect is a blessing or a curse depending on how you use it. Right now, Prince Arjuna is cursing himself. I have a choice not to engage in my responsibilities. Shatrugna, on the other hand, he's using his intellect as a blessing. I'm just a servant of a servant. There is no ahankara, I am doing. And in many centers, I've given talks on freedom through relationships, correct? And I've shared relationships are a blessing and a curse. And I shouldn't say and, or. And it's up to you. Your spouse can bring out the best in you, and they can also bring out the worst in you. Correct? All the spouses are looking at each other. Think about your kids. Nobody can frustrate you like your kids can, and nobody can make you proud like your kids can. You see the beauty of Vedanta being a vision, that this must be applied with your relationships, must be applied with your responsibilities. We move on to section 1.4 and 1.5. Prince Arjuna is choosing apara vidya. Vidya means knowledge. Para vidya means highest knowledge. But he's choosing apara vidya, which doesn't mean the lowest knowledge. It means not the highest knowledge. Arjuna is an expert when it comes to weapons. And we saw in a certain period, Arjuna is also an expert in the arts, correct? His name was Brinala, I believe, where he was teaching Bharatanatyam and so on and so forth. But neither his understanding of weapons nor arts was enough. Anyone who chooses apara vidya is actually choosing the path of Preya. Preya means the path of pleasure. Preya means not the path of Shreya. And to make this more real, when we choose the path of Preya, we limit our potential. The path itself is not so great, so my greatness doesn't come out. And the word to understand this is minimum. Minimum happiness, minimum people, minimum time, and minimum ways. That's Preya. Who's included in that minimum? We are. That's what Arjuna is engaged in right now. And I highlight this because he's honest. Remember, the first quality of a student is honesty. He is honest. He knows that Preya is not enough. Apara is not enough. There's a very beautiful word for fire. What are some Sanskrit words for fire? Agni is one more, with an A. Analaha. You've all heard of analaha? Okay. The word alam means enough. When you put the prefix, the ana, anala or analam means never enough. For a fire, there's never enough material, correct? You put in a book, you put in the desk, you put in a sweater, you put in you, it will just keep burning. Arjuna is actually experiencing this fire right now. He knows apara vidya, he knows Preya is not enough. And please feel what I'm saying to you. You also feel that fire. Early in the morning, you feel what was yesterday is not enough. You feel that at night, maybe not after the Bhagavad Gita course, but on Wednesday and Thursday, maybe not Thursday because of the Moha Mudgara course, but we feel that it's not enough. Family, career. That honesty brings humility, brings hope. Bhagavan Krishna is guiding Prince Arjuna from Preya to Shreya. He is guiding Prince Arjuna to the path of peace. And once you're on the path of peace, it is not analaha, it is alam. It is enough. It is called paravidya. Para means the highest. And in Vedanta, in a subjective science, Brahmavid, Brahmeva, Bhavati. Which means the one who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. That's how a subjective science works. When you study pharmacology, do you become those chemicals? What is the scariest part about watching American television? Those drug ads. You know, the drug will solve one problem, but will create 10 more problems, isn't it? In Canada, those drug ads are not like that. Like, okay, it'll solve this problem, and You don't need to know about the other problems that will be caused by that. But in America, it's frightening. You don't want to do anything like that. If you study geology, do you become a rock? Do you become soil and jewels and all of that? I'm pretending like I'm a geology expert. But when you study peace, don't you become peace? And it's not even becoming, it's re-becoming peace. Prince Arjuna knows all of this, but he also doesn't know all of this. Please open your hearts to what I'm about to share. Think about who Prince Arjuna is. Prince Arjuna's father is Pandu, essentially. His mother is Pandu is a great leader. His mother Kunti is so great that she prays for hardship because she remembers Bhagwan more. He's part of Indra, correct? Indra Shakti is in Arjuna. He's gone to Rishi Sandipani's ashram and studied with Bhagwan Krishna. Yet here he is, feeling that Apara Vidya is the best. Feeling that the path of prayas is the best. Aren't you and I like Prince Arjuna in that regard? We know, but we don't know. And I'm going to tell you why. For all of our advanced Vedanta course students, at the time we had studied 3 types of vasanas that steal development from us. What were those 3 vasanas, advanced Vedanta course students? Feel free to type them in. Feel free to say them because of your remembrance. Good. I see Deha, Shastra, and there's one more. Loka. Good. Very good. Good advanced Vedanta course students. Deha Vasana. I'm not this body, I'm not this body, I'm not this body, but I feel like I'm this body, isn't it? Loka Vasana. Popularity is not important. Fame is not important. Recognition is not important. But if you don't tell me that I did a good job, I'm not okay with that. And then comes in Shastra Vasana. We engage in too much Shravana. And how is that a valid statement? We engage in too much Shravanam because it's not evolving to Mananam. You are subject to the Shastra Vasana. That Vasana we thought would never be possible. It's not me. It's just something intellectual like that. But if it's not turning into practice, that's what Shastra Vasana is. When you get this Shastra Vasana, you justify your worldliness. Isn't that what all of chapter 1 is about? Arjuna's justifying all of the reasons to be adharmic. He does not want to go through with his responsibilities. And he's justifying it. He knows the Shastra, so he's able to do that. So many times when I interact with people, they say, Vivekji, I know you told me not to say but, and then they say but. I openly say you're swearing, but they'll still put in that but. I know I shouldn't be upset, but. See that justification there? That's a sattvic swear word, is but, B-U-T, okay? All of the misinterpreters out there. And I'll tell you the cure to the Shastra Vasana also. It's not okay, no more Shravanam, finished. Bhagavad Gita course, section 1.5, finished. The Shastra Vasana is dissolved when you develop a relationship with a guide, with a guru. Without that relationship, you only get information. But with the relationship, you get transformation. Transformation is when you practice and you feel the peace that comes with practice. And explaining this more poetically, people who engage in too much Shravanam, they know everything about technicalities. They'll use Sanskrit words like they're brands of cereal or toothpaste, right? They know it, but there's no bhakti. They know that Bhagwan is taught this and this and this, but they'll still treat Bhagwan's murti or book or whatever it is like it's their shoes or a phone. There's no bhakti there. Putting it differently, Someone who has a Shastra Vasana, like Prince Arjuna, knows the law so well, but doesn't know the spirit of the law. Those are different, isn't it? The law and the spirit of the law are different. The spirit of the law includes compassion. It includes understanding. Moving on to section 1.6. When Prince Arjuna begins the Mahabharata war, he comes in identified, in love with Dharma. His brother is Dharmaputra, his brother is Dharmaraja, he also is. This is his responsibility, but you slowly begin to see that he lets go of Dharma and is holding on to Pandava. You know who else just held on to their own family? Dhritarashtra, isn't it? Dhritarashtra in the first shloka says, what happened to them and what happened to mine? He didn't say what happened to ours, correct? If a city is destroyed and you just ask about your family, then you don't really identify with that city, correct? So, Dhritarashtra and Arjuna are not different. But then it comes down even more. He forgets about the Pandavas and he's only in love with himself. Arjuna. Selfish. That's what selfishness is. It's not, I eat all the cake and I take the best parking spot and all of that. Selfishness is I only think from my perspective. Earlier today I was sharing that in Canada, you have to study French from grade 4 to grade 9. And that was my least favorite subject, was French. So as soon as grade 10 came, I stopped studying French and I took a drafting class. Who knows why I took the drafting class, but as long as it's not French. French is aparavidya. Drafting, any class is paravidya. And it was only when I shifted to the ashram and we had to study Sanskrit, and it was so hard the first 2 months. It's so hot. It's you sit on the ground all day, and now they make you study this very foreign language. But then I came to love it. And why I loved it is not because of the technicality. It helped me think about life from two perspectives. I didn't just think in English then. I also thought in Sanskrit. Which is why I tell parents, if you know a regional language, speak to your kids in that regional language. Do not answer them if they speak back in English. They'll learn English anyways if you're in North America. But they won't learn that other language. Okay? That's what selfishness is only thinking from one's own perspective. And this is brought out very strongly in the next chapter. When Bhagavan Krishna is teaching all of these inspiring messages, he almost summarizes this by telling Arjuna 3 words, which I will bring out again in chapter 2. Please remember these words. Nithya, sattva, staha. Nithya, sattva, staha. Nithya means always, forever. Sattva, calmness, essentially. Clarity of mind. Staha, to establish yourself. You're not even practicing this. This is you. Arjuna, how are you going to become a wise person? Nithya sattva staha. Now, does that mean that Arjuna is not sattvic? He is sattvic. His name itself means clarity, straightforwardness. He is sattvic, but he's not staha. He's not staha because it's not nithya. Again, I hope you're feeling chapter 1 and ourselves here. We are sattvic. We're registered for the Bhagavad Gita course. If you weren't sattvic, why would you have paid $200 for this course? Why would you endure what I say? Now we're in week 4. We are sattvic, but is it nithya? For many of us, it's nithya from 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. That's what nithya is. There are one hour a week is nithya, not 168 hours. And if it's not nithya, there's no staha. You can't be established. When we're not established in calmness, calm body, quiet mind, still intellect. That's what sattva means, okay? Calm body, quiet mind, still intellect. that which is limited will pull you down. When you're around worldly people, what do they do to you? They finally catch you to become worldly too, isn't it? When you're around people who overeat, don't they encourage you to overeat also? When you're around people who want to go to the gym, but like their snooze button more, don't they say you should sleep in too? That which is limited will pull you down towards limitation. And that's what happened to Arjuna. He was not established in that sattva, so he got pulled down to rajas. Rajas is Pandava. He got pulled down even more to just Arjuna. And in that, what happened? If calmness is sattva and aggression is rajas, what is tamas? Laziness. Arjuna finally settled in inaction. Inaction. I-N, action. He was lazy. And Bhagavan Krishna comes and slaps him in the face, you know? Like someone who's sleeping, but they're about to miss an interview. You don't just gently pull the cover off and say, wake up, wake up, wake up, right? You may say that just so you check that off, that I did try to wake you up, but then if you're having a lot of fun, then you jump on them, right? And then they're really mad and they get hurt, but you say you did it for them. You didn't do it for yourself, correct? When I had finished my first year of university, then by accident, a friend of mine and we did the Char Dham Yatra. And I say by accident because we didn't even know what the Char Dham Yatra was, but we happened to do it. We happened to be in Gomukh, where the Ganga begins, literally by accident. We were over there. And in between this, we were in Uttarkashi for a week, and we were studying with Swami Purushothamananda. You know, he was in the first Vedanta course at Sandipani. He's attained Mahasamadhi now. And I had two very fond memories of that camp. Number one, it was all old people. So here I am. I think I wasn't even 18 at the time, or maybe I was, and my friend was a year younger. And we weren't used to sitting on the floor or without support. So we would always come to class early and get a seat near the wall or some sort of pillar, you know, and just then at least our back won't hurt while we're not understanding what's going on. It was in Hindi too, by the way. I forgot to tell you that too. And in every class, those old people will come and just give us cut-eye, just stare at us. And we knew we had to move from that seat. And there was another person who was staying in our room, and he was Kumbhakarna. So it was myself, my friend, and Kumbhakarna, all sitting in a room. And we felt bad that he was missing classes, not that we knew what was going on. So I took it upon myself to start filling up a bucket of water. And every time that we needed to go to class, that bucket of water was on him. It was on him and his bed and his clothes. And then I happily went to class because that was my dharma. So that's what Bhagavan Krishna does. He comes and slaps Prince Arjuna in the face. One beautiful term that he uses, this is at the beginning of chapter 2, he calls Prince Arjuna Anaryan. What does Aryan mean? Aryan we know means noble. Aryan means the best. He calls him Anaryan. He says by form and name you are an Aryan, but you are not thinking or speaking or acting like one at all. And that hurts him so much because he's taken such pride in being that Aryan. Bhagavan Krishna knows exactly what not to say and what to say. And then he introduces the teaching of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. He introduces sattva, shreya, and so on and so forth by saying, Na anushochanti panditaha. What does na mean? No. What does shochati mean or shochanti? Sorrow. Anu means any type of sorrow. Comprehensive, physical, mental, intellectual. No sorrow, no suffering for the wise. Panditaha in this context doesn't mean karmakanda only. It means someone with vision. And Arjuna is taught, you are stuck in inaction, and Lord Krishna is trying to teach him about unaction. Unaction. UN, action. Unaction is being like Shatrugna, where what are you doing? Only your responsibilities. Do you say you're doing your responsibilities? You are not there. That's what it means to be established in sattva. This is what Bhagavan Krishna teaches. Na anushochanti panditaha. That's the philosophy. And after that, there's 16 and a half chapters that are a commentary on that one line. Here's the philosophy. Here's how. You are Prince Arjuna. If you've printed off the Bhagavad Gita course, here's a bonus ray for you, Reflection Adventure of the Year. Every time you see the word Arjuna, in pencil, cross it off and write your name there. That way, there's no ambiguity about who this is about. And I'll prove that to you. In Shloka 1 of chapter 1, Dhritarashtra says, Kim means what? Akurvata. Kurvata is happens. Akurvata means happened. In other words, what did these young men do? He's asking in the past tense. Why would Dhritarashtra ask in the past tense? The subtlety of that message is what happened is incidental. More important is what is happening. Just the preciousness of these words. Kim akurvata, past tense. What happened? What happened? Incidental. History. What's more important is your story. I'll give you another message just from the first shloka of chapter 1. He says, Dharma kshetre, Kuru kshetre. What Paramahansa Yogananda describes, how he describes these two words, Kuru kshetra. What is the field of doing? Your body. In other words, he's saying what happened with your actions. What is happening with your food sheath, your breath sheath? What is happening on the surface? And then he says, Dharma kshetre is your mind. What is happening in your mind, in your mental sheath, in your intellectual sheath? What is the intention behind your implementation? Nice, isn't it? Otherwise, where's Kurukshetra? People go on yatras to Kurukshetra also, correct? What does yatra mean? Vacation, right? Boring vacation. Vacation in ashram. What does yatra mean? It means an inward journey, yes. Ya means to go. Outwardly you go. No doubt. But to go outwardly is to move inwardly. When you go to Uttarkashi, are you moved by Uttarkashi? When you go to Trinidad, are you moved in Trinidad? Going is external, Kurukshetra. But the Dharma Kshetra, what is happening? For all of you who have been on a yatra with myself, how you were on the yatra, are you still like that? Vacation, wasn't it? Unique vacation. Won't call it comfortable or this or that. It was a unique vacation. You were sattvic, correct? But the Nithya wasn't there. The staha didn't happen. But that's okay. That's why I keep organizing more yatras. And the last point I want to make about unaction. Na anushochanti panditaha. What is the first word of Srimad Bhagavad Gita? Dharma. And what is the last word? Mama. All of Srimad Bhagavad Gita only focuses on Mama Dharma. Who's Mama? You. See, he doesn't say Arjuna Dharma. Please note that. It's not Arjuna's responsibility. It's the word Mama. You say Mama. See, it's changed. If I say Mama, it's changed again. You say Mama, it's changed again, isn't it? It's not Tava Dharma, your Dharma. We're very good about that. Your Dharma. Follow your Dharma. What is the message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita? Follow your Dharma. It's mama dharma. And these are 2 words, and in between are 700 shlokas. My final thought to ensure that chapter 1, because this is the end of chapter 1. Next week we move on to chapter 2. To ensure that we are clear, that we are not studying a story, we are not studying history, we are studying I-story. You know, there's iPads and there's iPhones. This is I-story. In Ramayana, when Bhagwan Rama manifests, Goswamiji says he doesn't go through bhavami, he goes through sam bhavami. Bhavami means to become. Sam, which is unconscious. Bhagwan goes through sam bhavami. He doesn't become, he re-becomes. In other words, he's there, he's just changed his form and name. That is conscious. Sam means well, it means controlled. And when he manifests, Raja Dasharatha calls Rishi Vashishta and says, chant the Veda mantras. To create prosperity, to create peace, you chant the Veda mantras. And what does Rishi Vashishta say? What Veda? He forgets all of the mantras. Rishi Vashishta. And you know why he forgets? You only chant Veda mantras where there's a mixture of punya and papa, correct? Punya meaning goodness, papa meaning badness. To lessen that badness, Bhagwan is not born out of any sort of punya or papa. He chose that. That's why he forgot these mantras. So I'm not trying to say we went through Sambhavami. We definitively went through Bhavami. We are born of Punya and Papa. Which is more important? Papa. The Papa is our blessing. If we were only born of Punya, we would have been born in Devaloka. And what did they do in Devaloka? Eat, drink, and pretend to be merry. They love singing over there. They love dancing over there. They have mirrors everywhere. Because nobody dies or ages in Devaloka. Devaloka is like the gym. Everyone's singing and dancing. They call that classes. Zumba. Everyone's just looking at the mirror at themselves, correct? I'm not saying don't go to the gym. I am saying go to the gym, but don't just go with this punya of immersing yourself in yourself. The fact that there's papa means that there will be hardships. There will be adversity. That's when we grow up from enquiry to inquiry. This is what we need to be grateful for. This chapter is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. These words don't change so much, but I want to pick up on the word Vishada. What does Vish mean? Poison. Vish means poison. Vish also means suffering. Poison makes you suffer. Visham makes you vish. Poison makes you suffer. And Ada means to be bitten by, to be afflicted by. So Vishada means to be bitten by suffering, to be afflicted, to be weighted upon with suffering is Vishada. But it's still called yoga, isn't it? Not yoga, but yoga. It is this experience that united Arjuna with the next chapter, which is called Sankhya Yoga. To count well. In other words, to think productively. Be grateful for your adversity. Chapter 1, I'm leaving you with a message as we move on. Be grateful for your suffering. And how do you know you're grateful? Is if you learn from it. The way that Prince Arjuna did. He only said, Shishya hate aham, because he was suffering. And now I've gone to many centers and they've chanted beautifully in all of these centers that I visited. So I'm happy to hear that this Shishya hate aham, even if you don't mean it, but the fact that you have thought it and said it is most meaningful. Be grateful for that suffering, but extract extract the negativity that comes with suffering. On Monday, I was speaking at many hospitals to a group of caregivers, specifically psychiatrists. They need a lot of what Bhagavad Gita teaches. And I had asked them, what are the two greatest fears that humans have according to sociologists? And everyone immediately fired fear of death, fight or flight. And the second is fear of public speaking. And that's incorrect. We do not fear public speaking. The next person said, we fear failure. So with public speaking can come failure. Also incorrect. With failure can come sorrow. That's the real fear. If you extract sorrow from failure, imagine how much determination you would have. Imagine how our parenting style would change from rewarding for excellence to rewarding for effort. The way that we can be grateful for the papa, for the hardships, extract the sorrow so you are going through suffering, but you are not suffering. Arjuna did it. And I said, change your name from Arjuna to you. So, whatever your name is, did it. Oh.